get in there.
Season 3, Episode 10, Just Saying. Welcome to it. We are 4 weeks away from the close of registrations for Split 2, Open number 4. So we're on the countdown. We're 3 days away from the Boston Major. So much to talk about. Bromeo, Pyro. And Pyro, I'm going to come to you quickly because you got mentioned in dispatches on Twitter over the weekend. Shift RLE have a new account where they are specifically covering the collegiate scene in Rocket League. And you got yourself on there doing a bit of a shout on a Kronovi goal.
Yeah, Kronovi, if you don't already know, the mountain, the original GOAT of Rocket League, is competing in collegiate Rocket League in the States, and it's his second semester with Kennesaw State right now. I'm bouncing around to different schools that day in Pennsylvania, my home state, to some of the top teams in the region. I mean, you have Garrett G competing as a collegiate player. You have Kronovi. You have a lot of big names, and so it's fun to be behind the force that is propelling collegiate Rocket League to the screens. Now that Shift is covering it, it's very cool to see. Exciting stuff.
Yeah, I'm very.
I've got a question for that. Like, how old is Kronovi? And
how is he still in college?
Does he require a police clearance to be on, on college grounds? Because I mean, surely when you get to that age, it's sort of like you get automatic exemption.
28.
Oh my word!
Wow, how old is that? Woo, could you imagine? So like we're at a state where colleges and universities are really investing in their esports programs, and along that comes with that are scholarships. And so, I mean, you've heard of people even in Europe, even in many different countries, just saying like, hey, I might go play for University in America and take an esports scholarship because I'm pretty bang on for Rocket League or some other title. So it's a cool world to be a part of. I feel like I missed it by just a slim margin.
Well, if that's the case, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll get on that train and do some ongoing education. Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay, well, hello, everybody. So Pegasus is here. Marcy, Jamal, Retro Switch, Bromeo's in chat, Borky, and Red Dog. Thank you for the follow. Welcome aboard. And how's things in Europe for you, Bromeo, with the Bro Squad in RSC?
Do you know what? It's really, really cool to see it. Like, look, there's still a lot going on with regards to preseason, so it's a lot of fun to see everybody just gelling. And I'm not sure if anybody's been keeping up with the RSC EU, but with Bro now being involved, a lot of our picks were from South African players choosing to play RSC EU as well.
Very cool.
So I think most of our prospect or our academy team is pretty much all SSA. And I love that purely because this is RSC EU and an entire squad is playing on some heavy ping.
Oh, but listen, I think it's such a great thing, as we discussed last week, that you guys are there and doing the thing, and I love the fact that we've got local people participating there. I think there's only a lot of good that will come from a very close relationship between SSA and EU. I mean, already it's been incredibly fruitful for us over the last few years. All right, well, we will probably circle back to that now with 4 weeks to go. So this is how signups are working. The Boston Major starts on Thursday. The Boston Major will conclude on Sunday, and then Monday registrations open up. So from the time registrations open up to the time of the first of open number 4 is like 3 weeks. So it'll be the 23rd that registrations open up and they close on the 10th. So it's 23rd, 2nd, 10th. Yeah, it's 2 weeks. So there'll only be 2 weeks to sign up, which is not a lot of time. And the plan for open number 4 is for SSA to have 150 signups, which is going to be a mammoth task, but we must do it. And I thought, gentlemen, that we would already be inundated and drowning in all the LF1s, LF2s, roster chaos. And we saw, well, let's start with this one. And I actually want to see where the two of you land on this, because it looks like LFO looking for org are now LFT. We saw a tweet. In fact, I've got the tweet here. Let's go there. And no, that's Liquipedia.
Close.
Close.
It's Rocket League related.
Yeah, exactly. So this was just a couple of days ago. Eli, was it a couple of days ago? It was on Valentine's Day.
Heartbreaking.
The Valentine's Day breakup. Eli going LFT, and well, let's start with you, Pyro. So what are your thoughts on this? And were you thinking that LFO, given their disappointing results, should be breaking up?
When I saw this roster, Torres coming from the success of Foot, Wordy being a player that has gotten the most top 4s of any player to not actually have a championship under his belt, and Eliakim with all the potential he does, I was polling for this to be an LFO to a org team, not an LFO to a LFT situation. I certainly expected that, but the results are the results. They missed out on top 8 not once but twice, and it's got to be humbling for these players that had their sights set way higher than that, but it also has to be a reality check. And in this gruesome environment, you only have 2 splits. You only have 1 more split to go. I'd say if maybe there were 3 splits, I could see a world where this team sticks together. But seeing now that they're looking for changes, I'll say this, it doesn't surprise me.
Man, okay, look, I hear you, and I feel like your course is the most logical one. It's pretty pragmatic, but by the same token, Eli dropping, and I'm assuming they're trialing for a third now. Who else would adequately take them to the position that they want to be in anyway? All 3 of those players are pedigreed to be at that stage. And yes, they haven't gotten the results that they want to get. But splitting up, I feel like at that level where we've already got a limited player pool, who are you going to drag kicking and screaming all the way to the top? I mean, if you dropped Eli, it can't be a skill thing because Eli is one of the best. It has to be a culture fit then or something like that. But I feel like breaking up, halfway through a season, you're rolling the dice. You're taking a big roll of the dice and potentially ending up in a worse spot. I'm not sure if I'm entirely in favor of, let's break up the gang because we haven't been doing too well.
It's a tough thing, and I almost I'll be Mr. Moderator or take both sides of the argument, because we've always complained, and Bromeo, we've been complaining for years about the SSA scene and the fickleness of rosters, but at the same time, as Pyro points out, the results have not been good. So what I thought we would do, since the two of you have taken a fairly contrarian view on this, is I'm going to get chat involved. So while Bromeo was talking, I threw up a poll. So I'm starting the poll now. It'll run for about 3 minutes. So who's right about this? Does Bromeo make a solid point that the results have been the results? A bit of a reality check. LFO need to refresh going into split number 2, or Bromeo, is he correct in that maybe we need a bit of staying power? You know, marriages are hard. You can't quit at the first little bump in the road.
Look. I might just add, I am right. I'm always right. But I also think that there is a little bit of merit for going with Pyro. So if you do think that they should have split and that was the only way, sure, vote for him. But then also in the chat, tell me why. Because sure, they should have split up is an okay argument. But then what's the resolution? What's the solution? Give me that too.
That's right.
Otherwise, you're just copying.
I can appreciate that a lot, because you can make a case, but do you have a plan, you know, to point out the problem, but then also provide a road to the solution? When you ask who takes the place of Eliakim, that's a great question, right? Because sometimes when you have that kind of polling power of players like Torres and Wordy, you can create opportunities that may not have been there at first. So that kind of opens up the world of mystery. But hearing a lot of these top teams and them sticking together and them not making changes, it does beg the question, who do you even put there? So, and you can't even shop around the world for it. You know, Torres is your import player. You've got to take someone from SSA, and we know how limited, just in terms of numbers, that pool can be.
All right, well, we're being inundated with votes. 4 of them so far in the poll. It's that's 50.
Wait. I'm going to vote for myself because...
I need to vote for myself.
Well, Bromeo's ahead then. Bromeo's winning this vote.
I'm going to take it.
Bromeo's made the most cogent argument so far, but I'm sure, okay, never mind. It's back to 50-50. I wonder who just voted. All right, well, that'll be open for the next minute or two. We'll see how that ends up. But so there's a few things to talk about around rosters, but I wanted to mention, so Eli is LFT, and then Heatsy has now Heatsy, I don't know, I don't know, he hasn't had coming out of Reunion Island, hasn't had a great season, or hasn't had a great run in RLCS altogether, but he's retiring from competitive Rocket League, which is sad to see, especially with my general views on Reunion, and I'd love to see them have some success there. And then some pretty cool news on Astronic. Astronic posted this also on Valentine's Day, with a little Netherlands flag, an aeroplane, and a South African flag. And that can only mean one thing: Inspire of Astronic coming out to South Africa to play on low ping. And the word I've heard is that he will be coming out, but only from open number 5. So open number 5 and 6. And then Bromeo, I mean, this is... If you had never been to South Africa before, there's only one place you want to go, right? If you're visiting South Africa for the very first time, you go, yeah, I want to go to Bloemfontein.
From a logistical perspective, I understand that, Astronic's heart and soul is in Bloemfontein right now, and it makes sense. And you know what? I've said it before, and I'll say it again. You can do far worse. I mean, you could end up in a place like East London or Port Elizabeth or Pretoria. Bloemfontein's pretty hot. So I know I've dissed pretty much half of the people watching here. But I gotta say, people make jokes. Yeah, you're flying through to the heartland of South Africa, but I guarantee you, Inspire's gonna see a part of the country that many foreigners don't see, and I think that is really, really cool.
It's not even really a change of scenery, though, Bromeo. He's coming from the Netherlands, which is flat, and he's going to Bloemfontein, which is flat.
That is true. They say that you can see you'll see your neighbor walking over from tomorrow because it's that flat.
So Pyro, just so you know, the in Afrikaans we call that part of the world the platteland, which is the direct translation from Afrikaans is the flatland. So
okay. But I can't believe you assume I didn't know that already, Greybeard. Come on.
Well, in the States, they'd call it a blue sky state.
Yeah, I love the fact. So
we got the Great Plains over here. I will say, just in regards to this move, I really hope Astronic do well in Open 4. I mean, it's just going to be really, I don't know, awkward if they pull an LFO in the first Open and then they invest the flight to have them come over. It's like, not a good start to the event. But I mean, everything we've seen from this new Astronic roster, it puts them in a great position to succeed. So the fact that more orgs are investing in this kind of move makes me very excited.
And we can't, as much as we're having a little bit of a jibe at Bloemfontein, at the expense of Bloemfontein, I love the fact that they are doing this. I don't know how it's being covered, but the reason he's going to Bloemfontein is that he is going to be hosted by Vinko, Devour's dad, which is really, really awesome of the both of them, Devour's parents. And cool. I think it is really, really banger. And to your point, Bromeo, it'll be, sorry, Pyro, to your point, it'll be very awkward, especially if Astronic decide to drop Devour.
Yeah, that seems like a non-negotiable at this point. You can't be pulling that. That's funny.
Matt, you actually put onto a serious point. Vinko's dad is making sure, saying Astronic, I just bought myself some leverage.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. That's one way to keep someone on the roster. But then, no one's discrediting Devour for ever leaving that roster because he's so good. I do want to make a small point. We kind of glossed over Heatsy.
Yes.
I mean, that was a player that I just, now that he's retired, I really enjoyed watching personally. He seemed to have a lot of passion for the game, especially joining my mix-up event long ago. Played really well with some of the top players there, and had an exciting career as a Rocket League competitor. So kudos to him for that. I hope he looks on it very fondly, and like you said, Greybeard, love to see the reunion guys succeed. So sad to see one go.
I agree as well, and Heatsy's one of the biggest features in clips. Whenever we make intros and stuff for RSC, Heatsy's goals are always up there. So I hope you continue to participate in RSC, because otherwise we're going to have to make a new introduction, and those are a new vid, and those are expensive.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we'll have to rely on all the other subpar clippers out there for our intros. The next thing is, this is just a little bit of fun. I like the fact that Rocket League RL Esports Twitter account tweeted this also on Valentine's Day. They made a whole bunch of sort of Valentine's cards for players, Turbo, Pulsar, Rise, and Zen, and then You Are To Die For. So To Die For featured on Valentine's Day, which is pretty cool. And then, given the fact that it was really only Eli's tweet that we saw that he was LFT, so I thought, so I think we might get away without a roster apocalypse during the gap between split 1 and 2. So I've been in touch with a few people, sort of put out a few feelers. and it might not be as good as I thought it was going to be because, well, here's the list of the top teams in the region. Five Fears are definitely sticking together. Pioneers are definitely sticking together. The Bro Crows, I believe, are sticking together, and we will be speaking to Jeff in a little while, so he can confirm or deny whether the Bro Crows are sticking together or not. I'm a piano. Jeff, well, we spoke with Nitro last week, guys, and well, I don't know what your thoughts are. What's your take, Bromeo and then Pyro, in terms of are we going to see I'm a piano based on the conversation we had with Nitro last week?
To be fair, Nitro didn't exactly instill me with a huge amount of confidence, but I also know that Rocket League players like to play their cards really close to their chest for some reason, like it's an international conspiracy every time they form a team. So I would not bet money on Piano sticking together. Let's put it that way. I mean, we consider that insider knowledge, I suppose, having seen his facial reaction on this stream. But I have no idea. And for that reason alone, I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, bro. Like, I also have no idea. Like, yeah, they're not talking about continuing to team together, but they don't talk in the first place is basically what we got from that team, is that they as a team, they just don't talk anyway. So, and it's working for them is the crazy part. So I don't know. They could still really stick together because it goes back to Bromeo's question. Like, who are you filling in to that team if you do break up? Like, where maybe the LF third situation of LFO creates that opportunity? I really don't know.
And then it all falls apart. They're a top 4 team right now, and they break up, which means Kexi, Nitro, they're going to start again with 0 points. And I know, I mean, the points, it feels like RLCS outside of whoever makes major is the points don't matter type of situation. It's kind of like a whose line is it anyway? But still, wouldn't you like to finish the season like, man, we were top 4. And I think if they stuck together, they could make a proper run at the Bro Crows, maybe dislodge them in third place.
I think you just accidentally stumbled onto such a massive talking point because what do the points actually matter if you're not contending for major? Is it just seeding? Because seeding's a thing. You also want
money
to have
too.
No. But money's got nothing to do with the points because, you know, have a look at our top 6 teams here on Wikipedia. 3 of them don't have orgs, which means these boys are just playing for prize money and vibes. So let's just assume that Bro Crocos, I'm sure, are in chats with somebody. They have to be. A top 4 team should not be without an org because the benefits of that, you know, especially at this level, they should be represented. And honestly, I hate seeing the generic logo up on these leaderboards every time we have to put them up. For that reason alone, I'd advocate for an org. Just give us an interesting logo. Give us a team color. Give us somebody to throw some, you know, dirt on Twitter every time one of their teams beats somebody else. Like, I get it from that perspective, but, you know, what do the points actually matter for? And Greybeard, I think you're right. I think they don't matter. I don't think they even care.
And maybe that needs a bit of a think in terms of, because, nothing. Pyro's point is very important. There is money. You want to be with a team that can, the higher you finish, the more money you're going to make out of it for a start, if that's a thing. But then you feel like there's got to be, and I'm going to say incentivize, and I do not mean money, but there's got to be some value in finishing, in saying I finished in 4th place rather than 6th place or 8th place or 12th place. And I don't know what that is, but
I'll throw one out there. I think like your own marketability for moving up the ranks on professional teams. Like if you can prove that you get these consistent top fours in RLCS SSA, and say a gun situation comes up where Snowy needs to team with somebody that's going to put him next up and put him in a major spot. You've proven that you can actually, perform at that top level. You've got to, I think to the veterans of the scene of RLCS, you have to not only have the talent, but you also have to have the resume behind it, that you can do it at RLCS. So, we're grasping at straws for reasons for sure, but I'd say it still exists, that motivation outside of the money.
And success over time, to say you finished top 4 once in a season, well, good, that's pretty cool. But in the case of Amapiano, they're batting at 66 right now. 66% of the time they're finishing top 4. If they can continue with that through the last 3 regionals, that's a huge shout, Pyro, to your point that, to stay in top 4 for an entire season is pretty damn good going, and would most certainly add to the resume. Now, so that's Amapiano. So we are 50-50 at best, guys, that we will see the return of Amapiano. So let's see. And then Death Cloud Esport. For me, a team I'm a huge fan. They have fought bitterly to be in top 8 every single regional. And word on the street is that they will be breaking up. And that really upsets me.
Triple T.
Yeah.
Triple T. It's funny because every time I put a top 10 list together, Tweaks and T-Shaw are at the top of the list almost every time. These guys are young stunners. It's so exciting to watch them. And I mean, it's such a difficult pull. Making top 8 as much as they do is such an accomplishment already. I can't really conjecture as to why this is being made until I see the result. What is the team when we get out of this roster change situation? Because then it's oh, okay, this player wanted to stick, this player wanted to leave. I can't even estimate at this point. That's one of the teams that I would have expected to stay.
Oh, okay. So we made a big hullabaloo about LFO and Eli leaving and whatever, but that's understandable. Okay, that's all right. But for Death Cloud to split up the gang, sitting 5th overall on the leaderboard, and if we're being honest, between 3rd and 6th is insane. So why would you want to split up a winning combo? It makes no sense to me. I would do everything in my power to keep the gang together because that's nice prize money each and every single blooming event. And I have no idea. They could have personal reasons. It could be more than the game, and I could just be making a big fat noise for nothing. But by the same token, this shit really pisses me off because they have money in their hands, guaranteed, every split if they just keep this up. They've been posting some amazing results. Why break up? What are they going to aim for? Brokroko's position.
T-Shaw, Twinzer, Tweaks. Unlike Bromeo, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
There it is.
I'm very sad. And then LFO we've already spoken about. And by the way, Pyro ultimately came out on top with 63% of the poll vote on whether LFO should be sticking together or breaking up. 63%, which represents 5 whole people said that they should be breaking up. And then moving on, Astronic Esports, we've spoken about them. They're sticking together. They're even flying out their EU 3rd into Bloemfontein, hoping for better results there. Synthesis are sticking together. Strive Esports, I'm not sure what's happening with them. I haven't had any word one way or the other. White Rabbit Gaming, I'm assuming, are sticking together. Unity, no doubt, will. And then Rounds, I heard that there's an 80% chance, and I love how this was worded because I asked someone and the answer I got was there's an 80% chance that Renshiro will be playing on low ping.
Wait, no, so my question is, who decided that percentage? Like,
Yeah, good question.
What influenced it to 80%? Is that just means, does 80% mean, yeah, there's a good chance? Or...
I think what that means is whoever they're asking to fund it is thinking about it, and he says, I like the idea, but so they've gone with that sounds like 80%.
Fair enough.
But it'll be.
I just want to mention, like, when I look at this list and we talk about, well, what's Strive doing, and it's kind of a passing thought, it still baffles me because, like, the teams that haven't really figured it out, the teams that are still maybe in a little bit of a moving point, are teams that have players like Wordy and Willu. Like, when we get to this 2/3 situation, I think back to, okay, what did the region look like before the import crisis? And I mean, I think of French class. I think of like, Sweaty, Wordy, and Willu. And I would normally expect with this 2/3 situation, those would be the two players vying for those 3-4 spots. And it's just not the case. So I wonder what the storyline is there. Is it the fact that in those 2 years, there was a hunger from these younger players, from like Jeff or Ravi or T-Shao Tweaks or Daps or Declan? Maybe Daps and Declan aren't as young as some of the others, but the point remains, like, was there a grind? Was there a grind from those players in that time?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's despite what we've just said, though, I do get the feeling that there is a greater sense of stability. It doesn't seem like the complete, absolute carnage and chaos that we're used to between splits. So that's very cool. Now, the one team is, of course, Bro Crows, who have firmed up their position as the third team in the region. And that does beg the question, are they sticking together? And I'm fairly confident they are. But why don't we get someone in to come talk about it? Now, we've got Jeff, I'm going to introduce in a second. And I am you have no idea how much hard work it has been to get Jeff onto this podcast. He's been a slippery fish when it comes to locking him down and getting him in. But the last week I reached out to him and said, Jeff, it is now time. He's like, no. He says, Ravi really wants to do it. I said, really? He says, yeah, I'm pretty sure. I said, okay, I'll make a deal with you. I'll ask Ravi, and if he agrees, then we'll buy you some time. Ravi claimed to be unavailable, which I don't think is true. I think Ravi was just as not keen to be on, so I'll work on him. But in the meantime, we did get Jeff. Oh, please don't do that. We had this last week. Okay, hold on, Jeff. I'm going to get you here in a second.
Almost had my face.
What? Well, listen. No.
Come on. Where's Bromeo? I want double Bromeo.
I'm ready. Double Bro, you know?
I at least solved that problem. And there he is. Jeff.
Hello.
There he is.
So, okay. So, well, I'm going to ask you at the end if it's as bad as you thought it was going to be, but we're going to make this. We're just going to vibe here. But I'm going to fire out with the first question, which is, Bro Crows, Ravi, Steak, Jeff Brr, are you guys sticking together?
We are not sticking together. No, I'm kidding. We're definitely sticking together.
Turns out he's a funny guy. All right, Jeff, let's get serious here. So tell us about the half the season. Jeff, you've managed to now. Okay,
I think it's
we're doing great.
Like, I'll hold my camera like this, just just hold it get it going there.
Okay, so how are we feeling about halfway through the season? Did you expect to do as well as you thought, or have you not done as well as you thought? What are the feelings of you and the team halfway through the season?
I mean, we're doing pretty well, or we thought we'd do what we're doing right now, because going into scrims and things, we're doing well against the top teams, but then in RLCS, not so much. But usually, in scrims, we'd beat teams like like LFO and whatnot. So we thought our spot as third is firm, and it's been going well so far, except for Open 2. There's a bit of problems there, but I mean, we're standing strong right now. So
Good.
So you mentioned that in scrims it looks pretty good against Pioneers and Five Fears, but then you get to RLCS and there's a gap. What is there like something that really characterizes that gap to you? Is it like we are not flying fast enough on the pitch? We are making more mistakes than this team on the pitch? Is there like one specific area that you feel like these top two teams have created a gap between themselves and the rest?
I think the pace that we have is on par with them. I think the biggest problems are the small mistakes that we make, and like the boost. Like we struggle to get boost against the high teams. They've got very good boost control, and that's what we struggle with. So if we get that right, we should be able to stand up to them.
Well, that's super interesting. Thanks for that insight. I also am really curious. You're working with Jeff. Like, I'm sorry, you're working with Steak. Hey, you gotta figure out the internal before you work with everybody else. What's it like working with Steak? You know, he brings a lot of experience in RLCS. I'm sure bouncing ideas off of them or getting more ideas about how to bring that in professional environment is really interesting. I mean, you've competed in SSA since like 2022, I think. But he's got a lot of RLCS experience. I'm curious, what's that experience like?
I mean, just in the first 2 weeks of playing with Stake, I felt like I've grown a lot as a player. I mean, like I just see so much self-improvement right now just from playing with him. And I mean, I think Ravi as well. Just in the threes aspect, I think he's gotten better. And I think him just being on the roster is going to help us grow a lot faster.
It's awesome.
I'm just I'm having a look at your results of how you have fared personally over the last, and you've got a lot of really good finishes. And I was thinking earlier you had Cosmico backing you through, and you guys were hitting top 3, top 4, and the fact that you guys have continued to hit those same results without an org. My question to you is like, what's the feeling in the camp with an org versus without an org? Because you guys are still hitting the same results.
To be honest, I don't think there's much difference. I think if anything, like there's more motivation with an org behind you, like a lot of support, and but I wouldn't say there's too much of a difference.
Fair enough.
Was it a bit of a wobble when because Cosmico's departure came out of the blue and it was very sudden? Did that? I mean, on the face of it, on the broadcast, seeing you guys perform, it looked like it made no difference. But I don't know, with your conversations with each other, did it create a bit of a wobble for you guys?
No, I don't think it did. But I mean, it was sudden. It was out of the blue. Like he messaged us that he's going to shut everything down, and I mean, there's nothing we could really do about it. So yeah.
And then
That's valid.
What are the big plans? So what do you want out of Split 2? So you're sticking together, which is just brilliant news. And what do you want out of the season? Have you guys discussed like a successful season for us will be this?
We've discussed, and our goal, it might be ambitious, but we are trying to fight for the major spot for Paris.
Ooh,
fabulous! Oh, that
Do
is,
it.
I like it.
Tasty.
I like
That
it.
is tasty. No, I love that, and I've got so much respect for you boys because you guys have stuck it through for an entire split, not planning to split up. You guys have been hitting good results. You guys have been on the up, and one of the few teams to consistently place. And I'm not saying consistently placing well, just being very consistent in how you're applying it. We've seen other teams hit some good results, and then you don't see much of them. So real kudos to that. Do you think that your results are what's keeping you guys together, or the fact that you are keeping yourself together and you're getting results?
I think it's a bit of both, honestly, because just the vibes in our team is actually pretty good, except for open to. I was having a bit of problems there. My mental is down, but other than that, the vibes are keeping us together, and I mean the results are also really good. So I mean I think there's a bright future ahead for this upcoming split. So
All right, Jeff. Who's the carry on the team?
um,
It's okay to say yourself. I would totally back you.
I want to say myself, but I definitely can tell you I'm not carrying the team. I can tell you I feel like Steak and Ravi are very, very much the offensive players, but I feel like as a playmaker I stand out. I feel.
Good man. Good man. Okay, and all right, fine. What have we missed with Jeff? Oh, and by the way, anybody in chat, if you want to ask a question of Jeff, fire it away there. And if it seems like a legit question, we'll ask Jeff. But let me.
I've actually got a question. I've got a question, and it's completely off topic. I'm just having a look at your results continuing, and I see that I think out of all 4 of the RSC seasons, you have placed in 3 of them, which is actually incredible. I didn't even know that was a thing. Doing that well, are you saying you're just Mr. RSC with those kind of results, or do you think you've just gotten really lucky with some teams along the way?
Well, I mean, I feel like I am Mr. RSC, but there's been some problems holding me back. Like I think last season, the biggest reason why we lost was because I was literally disconnecting every single game. I think we would have won that season. I mean, I also won the first season, but I was playing sub, so I don't really count that. And I don't remember
man just said I have placed every season, but I was a substitute in the first one. But yeah, continue. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah. And I can't really remember what happened in the second season, but that's whatever. But I think this latest season, I wasn't expecting to get first, but we ended up getting there. And I think I already talked about the previous season, so yeah.
Yeah, well played. I just wanted to highlight the fact because I don't think anybody else has done that. That's nuts.
Thank you.
And then Darius in chat has asked the question: how does it feel to play with such players in your team? So I guess the question, how does it?
What is that question?
No, I think I
already
get what
asked him about Steak, so
Yeah.
I guess what's it like to play with Ravi, baby?
I mean, it's fantastic. It's easy to play with them because Ravi's a really smart player. Steak's a really smart player. I feel like I can play really well with smart players, and I feel like me and Ravi's chem it's gotten so good over the past 2 months, and I think Steak just being there as well is like adding more to it. Really good playing with him.
What are the comms like? Because Ravi's he's a quiet person. I don't know Steak very well, so I don't know what he's like as a person. Ravi, I've interacted. He's a shy person. He doesn't seem to be overly expressive. What are the comms like between you guys in game?
Well, I would say it's just normal. I mean, it's like every other team. I would say. I mean, Ravi talks a lot. I mean, I've become friends with Ravi. It's easy to talk with him if there's like problems or whatever. I think it's just a little harder to talk with Steak because I don't really know him. So if there are problems arising, I'd probably rather just not say anything. But like during comms, our comms are fine. I wouldn't say there's really problems with that, but yeah.
And then Slowpokes and Unguarded Ace have pretty much asked the same question. So I love that you guys are aiming for the next major. Do you have a plan to achieve that? And if so, what will your focus be? So effectively, okay, so you want to shoot for the next major. How? What are the big plans in place to get there?
We have big plans, but nothing is set in stone yet. So I think I'd rather not say more than that, but there are big plans that we are trying to make.
Ooh.
I've got a question, and I've just big brained it right now because I have a big brain. But I want to know from your perspective, sitting firmly in third, who's more beatable, Are we talking KCP or talking 5 fears? From your team's perspective, who would you find an easier target to take down?
I would probably say 5 years on easier target to take down, just because of the fact that KCP I think are the best at controlling the boost against us, and their demos are crazy against us. So I think it's tougher to beat them from our
Fair enough.
perspective. But I'd definitely say 5
you
years
know,
or more in reach.
Stats-wise, you'd be supported as well in saying that, because you guys have taken a few games or 5 fears as well, I think. So fair enough. I wasn't trying to put you in any hot water by asking you that question.
Nah, it's all good.
All right, fabulous. Well, we're 4 weeks out. Jeff, is there a question we should have asked you but we haven't?
I have no clue.
All right, cool. Well, gents, Bromeo, Pyro, do we have any other questions for Jeff before we let him get on with his life?
I do. I want to know who your electrician is, because they should be fired. There's no lights in your room.
He had light.
That's just
He
because
had
my light's
light.
off.
When we did a test, Jeff, you looked fantastic with the light, and then you decided to turn everything off.
Mood lighting.
Well, I think the light of my screen was just brighter. I could probably make it a little.
Oh, there we
brighter
go. Well, now, okay.
Hey!
There he is. I have a random one for you. If you're playing Rocket League to actually have fun in the game, what do you play? Like, is it twos like pretty much everyone else, or are you like secretly a drop shot freak?
Well,
No, it's probably 2s or 6-mans, but I
Okay.
don't know. It just depends on what your elo is in 2s, if you're gonna have fun or not. So I mean, yeah.
Fair. Okay, cool.
Darius wants to know why you're so good looking.
I don't
Valid
know.
and true.
But thank you for the compliment.
Fair enough. Okay, Jeff, well, we're going to let you go. But once again, thank you very much for coming and giving us a bit of your time and giving us a little bit of insight. And yeah, we're definitely going to have our eyes locked on the Bro Crocros. And are you staying the Bro Crocros? I mean, I guess that'll only change if you get it. Well, let's ask that question then, since it's now just come to mind. Are you anywhere closer to getting an org?
Well, that's part of the big plan, so we'll see.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right.
Interesting.
So there are conversations taking place, but nothing announced yet. Okay, cool. All right, Jeff, we're going to let you go. Thank you very much. Excellent to chat with you. And so tell me, was it as bad as you thought it was going to be?
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm here for it.
I guess we'll know the next time. The next time I ask you to come on, or whether you're like, yeah, let's do it, or yeah, no thanks, we're done with that. But Jeff, thank you very much. Good luck. We'll see you in the next split.
Thank you for having me.
All right,
Cheers,
man.
mate.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.
Okay, so that was Jeff, and how fabulous to have him. And we are planning to. We'd like to get a player on every week, so we're going to sort of start working our way through the top 16 and get as many of them on as we can. Now, this made me think of another question, Bromeo and Pyro. So, and I think I'll start with Bromeo this time. So, who is currently the best player in SSA?
Oh, that's a toughie. That is such a toughie. And I love that you asked for it, because the immediate answer would probably be like, oh, it's Sweaty, bro. Obvious. You know, that guy's just the best. But given the fact that, you know, KCP has not had their run of results, I would argue that it's somebody on 5 fears. I would go so far as to say, if it continues the way it's going, I'd back guns.
Sure. Ooh. Pyro, is that a hot take, or is there?
It's let's just say it's winter over here, and I need to open a window because I'm scorching hot from that take. I do think it's valid to look at 5 years and say, well, you're winning, so it could just be there that the best talent is. And, I have seen some of the players on Pioneers make critical mistakes to lead to those 5 years wins. And in that sense, I might agree just from the clutch standpoint. But if we're talking best talent, I mean, I got to echo Jeff, who we just heard from. Like, Pioneers, they're less beatable. They're better at the game. You've got To Die For, who was the MVP of the region for like 2 in a row. But in my mind, you got Sweaty. I mean, going into this season, it was Sweaty in August of last year, who won the 1v1 without dropping a single game. That Ascension Protocol tournament. It was Sweaty, who was making some of the craziest highlight plays in those off-season tournaments, those opens that I was hosting on my stream. Sweaty. I mean, he was a hoops demon. And now coming into this season, I think he's coming to his own. Maybe he hasn't hit that like peak potential. So that's why I doubt just a little bit. But in my mind, coming into this season, so far hitting those marks has been Sweaty.
Do you know what? I think as well, had you asked me this question immediately at the end of the last split, I would have said To Die For immediately. And because he had like those first 3 games by the balls, I have not seen a player just start peaking as hard as he had for, that period of 15 minutes or so. I thought at that point KCP had it in the bag purely by the way that To Die For was playing, and it was obvious.
To Die For was the best player of that series. I'm right there with you.
I would say of that event, To Die For was incredible.
Yeah,
and it's even with 5 Fears having won that, I would still put To Die For as MVP of that series.
So this is one of those questions that's always it's by its nature a divisive question, because everyone's got their opinions and then the emotions get involved because you like a player, don't like a player. So I'm going to put it out to poll, and I'm going to put a poll out there, but I'm only naming Guns and Sweaty because that's Bromeo and Pyro's choices. And everyone in chat, I'm sure you will have your own ideas about who might be the best player. But within the arguments we've had, just because we can't put everybody out there, so I've started a poll. Pyro's argument about LFO came out on top the last time. So go and vote. Who is
Pyro playing the safe money? Pyro playing the safe money.
I am playing the safe money. It's so true.
Give it to him. Give it to him.
So, like, here's the other thing.
Like,
the biggest outcome of this is going to be like, the casting desk of RLCS SSA put a poll up for best player of the region, and it didn't include To Die For. Are they insane? And like, yeah, we kind of are. So to answer your question, yes. But I have to give credit to the other side. To be, Snowy took a risk, right? He wasn't going to team with To Die For or Sweaty. And it was like they had to put aside their differences and come onto a common goal of wanting to win. And his risk was worth it. The fact that Guns, was part of bringing this team to a major spot is instrumental. Could you choose any other local player to do that?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
They have done far better than I. They are 3 volatile characters. Although I've got to say, I have to reimagine that a little bit based on the conversations we've had with Guns, both on the RLCS broadcast and on the podcast in interview. I think Guns has grown in leaps and bounds over the course of the season, and he seems a lot less volatile than he had been. And then we know Snowy's quite a divisive, polarizing person. But to be fair, I don't know that that's translated to in-game. I'm not sure. And then Tekos, I don't know him very well at all, but I've heard that he can be an interesting guy in terms of being volatile and so on. So I thought they would implode as a team, like three wild characters together, and it was either going to be great or it was going to end in a pile of tears. And shout out to all of them that they've come as far as they have and they've done as well as they have. So that's pretty cool. By the way, the poll, Sweaty, looks like Pyro's killing the poll right now. 67% of the
vote for him. Just vote for him. Vote for him. There's no issue there. But I'm also going to say we didn't clearly define the metrics of what makes a best player, and I think that like precludes a few players that shine in other areas. And our favorite player to dislike is Snowy. Because he's just done so much in that regard. But that point that you made, that he made a big risk when this whole thing came out, and he left two of the arguably best players in the country to go and form a new team. And I at that point I would have said whichever team to die for and Sweaty are on, they win.
Yes.
And I say this, Snowy is not a flashy player. He's not. He's not one of those persons who's going to make you from the ceiling, although he can. But his way of rallying a team together and getting them into a cohesive unit is unmatched. And I will not jump onto the Snowy Glaze train for long, but I cannot dispute that he has been one of the most instrumental players in this region and continues to do so. So there's also a very strong argument to him. He's not the most popular.
The fact that the crown, if there's an SSA crown, it fits most firmly on Snowy's head, right? He has been the best no matter what. He's been on the best local team. And a lot of people discounted that reality this season and said, no way 5 years are going to be on top of Pioneers. I mean, there's a way, but is it likely to happen? Even after they're going to the major, we still have some of the best players in the region saying, yeah, Pioneers are still the best, right? So it's like nobody kind of wants to accept what is real, which is Snowy's still on the best team and always has.
And still is at the age of, I think he's now 24. So that is really, really good going in that regard, no doubt. See, popped into chat. Heatsy, if you're still there, hello. We shouted you out earlier, talking about your retirement. Very, very sad to see you go, but thanks for being here for the time that you were. Now, if I was to have continuing the conversation on Snowy, and it's not really only a Snowy conversation, it is an SSA conversation, because we have to be looking at closing the gap between SSA and the rest of the world. And Snowy has been the undisputed, whatever team he's been on, undisputed king of SSA Rocket League. And there's no doubt that he knows how to win here. But my goodness, do we struggle to get results not here when we're with the rest of the world. We got Boston 3 days from now. We're in a tough group, NIP, NRG, and who's the OCE team, Power. And my fear, I guess one of my 5 fears, is that we come out of yet another major 0-9.
Look, there is the potential of that happening. Yeah. And I would argue that it's the strongest potential of that happening, because the pool that we're in, it's a toughie, but it's always going to be a toughie. And I feel like unless we have a realistic look of where we are as a region in relation to everybody else, our player base is fractional compared to everyone else. So we're always going to be punching upwards. So for us to expect good results heading into the best of the best, I feel like would be unrealistic. So we need to reimagine what progress looks like to us. And we say this every time a major comes around and we get the shit kicked out of us. But I think the fact that we've got a team going there where we know that the players there are playing some really good Rocket League, I think that's good. I think it's just a universal leveler of finding out where we are, compared to everybody else. And I don't think we're going to... I don't have massive expectations for Boston. I don't think much is going to, change in the greater scheme of things. But I do think that we are still heading in the right direction, given with, 2/3 and all of that. This last season has been the most competitive season of Rocket League I've ever seen. And I think it's very easy to get upset by results in Boston, but if we just keep focusing locally until our results start improving there, I feel like being a Rocket League supporter is far simpler and far easier, and I gain a lot more enjoyment out of seeing things happening here and just enjoying the pride of seeing local teams representing, even if they're not getting the results.
But it's when we talk about expectations for the major, like I can't help but to agree with you, Bromeo. Like I want to be so optimistic, but it's so hard, right? We want to say like, Power could be a match, right? But then it's like, didn't OCE in their last appearance get like top 6 in the world? So it's really hard to like make that argument right now because if anything, OCE are on the rise. And when we talk about this international situation, I'll always hail back to the fact that we have not reached our peak in Rocket League. Players are still getting better. That ceiling has not been reached. So it's not just a race to the top. It's a race to get higher more quickly than the rest of the teams are getting. And that's such an impossible situation. But it has been achieved by regions like South America and Middle East, North Africa. It has been achieved, as we saw it in a recent event there by OCE and many other events as well. So I want to be realistic and I want to be optimistic. And those two sides of me are just clashing leading up to Thursday.
I know. Listen, I mean, a wonderful result would be a game off either NRG or NIP and beating Power. If that were to happen, I would go, okay, this has been a good major for us. But if we can at least be competitive and... it is tough, and I share all of the sentiments. It is, we want to be positive, but we understand the reality of where SSA Rocket League is right now. So we'll have to roll with whatever happens. But speaking of that, there is an official broadcast for SSA's run at the major, and that's going to be this Thursday. It's going to be streaming out on ACGL's Twitch, and it'll be me, Bromeo, and Ultrasm sort of hosting and casting and taking you through that. And also, we are going to be back on SuperSport. So the Boston Major will be on SuperSport. Your next question, the obvious question is, that's great. What channel? And the answer to that is no idea. We're still waiting to hear what channel on DSTV we're going to be on SuperSport, but it will be on SuperSport. And that is a prelude to all of Season 2. No, not Season 2, all of Split 2. The last 3 regionals of the 2026 season are going to be on SuperSport, which is huge because we have got to use that as a major driver of growing our database. To Bromeo's point, that we have this tiny little player base. And hopefully we can use SuperSport to help us do that, because the 1v1 last season, the RLCS 1v1 got 500,000 views over the course of a weekend. So if we're smart, we can do something cool about that. So join us on Thursday. And it's going to be challenging. We're not sure how to do it because the first SSA match is at 6 o'clock at night and the second SSA match is at 10 o'clock at night. So it's going to be a long, interesting night for us. And but stay tuned. Obviously on Twitter, we'll announce all the news around that. And then some interesting news, chaps. There's been talk about anti-cheat coming to Rocket League, and RL Status's new tweet that the anti-cheat is coming in April. Pyro, let's start with you. Your thoughts. I don't know enough. I'm not a technic, really know. And people are saying, this is going to work for 5 minutes. But I don't know. Your thoughts.
I have too much to say about this, so gladly, but I'll try to keep it just mentioned. Is it going to stop the bots? Questionable. And people are already hearing that, yeah, folks are finding ways around it. I think it will start to curtail the effort, but it won't ultimately stop it. We will have yet to see. I think from a broadcast-oriented perspective, though, streamers, content creators, people like us, the biggest worry with anti-cheat is it would get rid of all the mods that you can use. So, like, you can't use your Bacchus mod to use your broadcast assets. You can't use Bacchus mod to do a lot of the things that you use it for. But with the announcement that just came out is that people on PC can either open Rocket League with anti-cheat on or anti-cheat off. So you actually do have the ability. That was one of the biggest concerns from content creators and broadcast creators alike, is that they would have no way of using the game with the mods to enable them to do those sorts of things. So I have to look at what limitations exist when you do open the game with anti-cheat off, because I'm sure they're not offering everything, right? But this is a very, very impactful thing, and I'm honestly surprised that they announced this like now, because we don't always get the most responsive news from Rocket League.
Yeah,
Man, I just want to say, like, remember Greybeard once upon a time where we applied to Psyonix to get those admin perms so that we could run RSC.
Yes.
And it took a while, but they gave us perms so that we can pause and adjust private matches. I don't think it's too far in the realm of possibility for that same sort of structure to apply in sort of cases like these. If you're proven that you're a trustworthy individual, your account could be flagged to still access some of the features that would otherwise be disabled by anti-cheat. So I feel like a lot of this, humdrum of, oh shit, we can't do broadcasts and things. I don't think Psyonix would shoot themselves in the foot that hard. But with the amount of noise people are making, and rightfully so on Twitter, I feel like action is inevitable. And for them to be taking these steps, even if it is at the cost of, maybe a Buckers mod feature where you can use whatever skin you want, I feel like that's a price to pay. You want competitive matchmaking? Sure. Then you need to buy your dices from the item shop. There you go.
This paragraph intrigues me. We're also building popular mod-inspired features directly into Rocket League, including an option to display MMR in-game, changes to custom training, and an optional flip reset indicator. Overall, that because there was a lot of debate about Bacchus mod and whether it would be whitelisted or not, that to me sounds like not.
Yeah, I don't know where to go from that. I mean, I didn't know whether you're going to talk about like the fact that Bacchus mod. It seems to me that they're trying to analyze the best features of Bacchus mod and just include that in the game itself, to say that at one point, hey, you guys don't need Bacchus mod. It's in the game if you really want it. The problem is, like, I don't think MMR in game and flip reset indicator are those big features. There's streamers out there that use Bacchus mod to hide the fact that they're queuing so that people can't join their lobby. There's people that use Bacchus mod to hide the player names in their lobbies so that they don't. It's all to protect them as content creators and streamers, stuff you need, and I'm not seeing those things listed. Greybeard, I thought you'd be more interested on the case-by-case basis thing. Okay, so people like us, if we want to use graphics to run tournaments, we have to get specific approval to do that. I don't know what that path is to get that approval.
Sorry, where was that? I haven't read that yet. Where
is the paragraph right before the one you highlighted? It says, we know mods are used. Yeah, that one right there.
Oh, my.
Okay, that's my entire point. That was my entire point.
Yes.
You just say, hey, Psyonix, I run this tournament. Can I please have your permission to do it? And then they give you a nice little access to it, and then it's done. And I feel like that's fair. That is a fair workaround around it. And Greybeard, I'm not sure how you feel about that, but that seems to me the most, like, the least bullshit way to work around, a anti-cheat feature. Given the fact that Bacchus mod, if we're being realistic, shouldn't have been allowed at that sort of level for so long. I feel like the only reason it has been allowed is because it's free dev work that the Buckers Mod guys were doing on behalf of SSAying, because to install all of those features would be really expensive.
Quick shout out to Guns. Guns slid into chat. He's at the airport, so about to leave. I don't know if you're still watching, Guns, but go give them hell, Guns. Good luck. And we'll be following all the progress on Thursday. Good luck, mate. Yeah, well, they say we'll have more to share on season 22 next month. In the meantime, we're on the lookout for your questions and feedback. So hopefully there'll be more information. So I don't know. I don't know what it means if you turn off. So am I getting this right, though, that you can't queue for competitive matches without loading in anti-cheat?
Yeah, that should be
correct.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, cool. All right, well, that's fun and games. And since we're talking about Rocket League generally, and this came out of the blue, but something that's been circulating on Twitter for the last few days is, of course, the thing we've all known that is coming. Well, I think we all know that it's coming, right? And that is Rocket League being absorbed into Fortnite. And we see this tweet here. Epic is remaking Rocket League arenas in Fortnite UEFN, which I guess is Unreal Engine Fortnite. Likely an early merge of RL into Fortnite's ecosystem, starting with UEFN integration first. So I don't know what that means. If they're just putting in the arenas there, can you play Rocket League in there? Can you make maps? I don't know what that means, and I don't know, Pyro or Bromeo, if you guys know what that means.
I have thoughts. If Romeo, I don't know if you want to go first. You absolutely.
I've never even installed Fortnite. So
well, that's gonna change.
Ew, gross. No,
Get ready to learn Fortnite, buddy. No. So this is funny because like this announcement comes out like all the time for some reason. Like, remember when they added the Rocket League car to the game, and they were like, well, that means Rocket League is going to be in Fortnite, and then it wasn't.
Yes.
And then everyone's like, they're going to announce it at Worlds, and then it wasn't. So it's kind of like it's this third or fourth or fifth iteration of Rocket League is going to be in Fortnite, and I'm not saying it's not, but I also just want to inform people that like a leak like this does not mean it is going to happen. Yes, there's going to be some kind of like progression. Yes, maybe there will be maps. Maybe there will be ability to play Rocket League in the game. Yes, we maybe get to that point, but until we hear it truly from them,
yes,
at like some kind of event, it's not going to happen. Now, the final thing I'll say is that top content creators have kind of like within the game that have insider sources, like have kind of leaked that something like this was supposed to happen. Lethamir's very vocal about it, that at the World Championship, they were supposed to announce Rocket League and Fortnite. And for some reason it didn't happen. And that's what kind of rumors are occurring. So these people are all thinking, okay, here we go, Boston Major, it's going to happen. I can't say for sure whether I'm buying into that, but there's some pretty prolific people in the community that believe that's coming.
I think it's not going to happen until the end of Worlds, but I do think that this sort of thing, if this does happen, and I don't know when Epic is remaking Rocket League arenas in Fortnite, so when is that happening? When will we be able to see Rocket League maps inside of Fortnite? Is that coming in like next week or in a month or whatever? I do think ultimately we are going to land up inside Fortnite, and that there will be what they're calling the thin client, so you won't have to install all of Fortnite. You can literally install just the Rocket League portion of it. There's never going to be a UE5 version of Rocket League that is not a part of Fortnite. That's kind of how I think, but I don't think anything happens until after Worlds. But who knows?
You're spot on. Yeah.
Well, but I mean, this is not the first time we've had this topic on the podcast, and it's always good. It's great content because it rages people. And I have to be honest, I think it's a good thing. I think it exposes Rocket League to a whole new potential player base, and the engine that we're on, which is it Unreal 3 or whatever engine we're on now. I mean, you can do nothing with it. It's so much hard work. For our modders, for our creators, you can do so much more with UE5 inside of something like Fortnite. I think it has to go there for the long-term future of the game. But hey, who knows? Everyone, like assholes, opinions, we all have one at the very least.
Just to support your opinion, if somebody said Rocket League's going to Unreal Engine 5, everybody would go insane because yes, please. And then just 2 words. In Fortnite at the end of that, and everybody hates it.
Yeah.
And why? Because Epic has built this client that runs. It works. It's got millions of players on it. Why would you want to spend millions trying to do it separately when you've already invented the wheel? You've invented the car. It's already there. So I feel like integrating your software architecture is not a silly thing to do.
Yes.
It's just you have to associate yourself with Fortnite, which I think is an ego thing rather than a practical thing.
I want to say, how's it to Inspire? Inspire, we are talking about your epic pilgrimage to Bloemfontein in the not-too-distant future, which is pretty exciting. So good to see you in chat. Looking forward to seeing you much closer in chat in the not-too-distant. My question around Fortnite, and if this is to happen, does this change the bot situation at all? Does it help?
Yo.
That's a really good question.
Yeah, it probably would.
I think anti-cheat is already a part of Fortnite, right, guys?
Say that again?
I believe easy anti-cheat is already a part of Fortnite. So
does Fortnite
I think
have
we'd have to...
Does Fortnite have a cheating problem?
It's got a teenage.
I mean, almost every video game needs some kind of security measure around it. Every game has a cheating problem. Okay. Rocket League actually was one of the very few, if not only, games that was competitively played that never had a bot problem. For the longest time, we were so unique in that regard.
Yeah.
So yes, Fortnite has it. I would say we have to assess what anti-cheat does when it comes around in April and understand that whatever effects that has is probably what it's going to look like when it goes to the thin client UE5.
Okie dokie. Well, then just some general community news is that Six Mans is undergoing a little bit of a restructuring. KV and... Romeo, help me out here. Who did we meet with?
I'm not helping you out there. Don't put me in your mess.
Come on, man. Who did we meet with? It was. Oh no! Now I'm feeling like a complete spanner.
It's okay. We do these. It was KV, Pine, and Arid.
Thank you, KV, Pine, and Arid. Jeez. Okay, so they're taking the mantle to rebuild Six Mans into a proper. Well, what Six Mans is supposed to be is that a thriving, healthy place for people to go who are interested in improving themselves competitively, who have an eye for taking competitive Rocket League seriously. So more news to be shared on that when there is time. When the time is right, we'll get one or all of them onto the podcast to talk about what Six Mans is going to look like going forward. But I do want to mention that here and then wish them the very, very best of luck in their endeavors in that regard. And I do think there is a genuine effort from those three people to make it into something awesome. So I'm rooting vigorously for their success. And then I think coming toward the end, I just want to mention again, I want to run a very vocal campaign for the next 4 weeks to get 150 teams signed up for Open number 4, which will be the highest number of signups for the SSA region by some distance. I want to make a very clear showing that RLCS in SSA is really important to us, that we want to succeed, we want to get better, we want to see the scene grow, and that means everybody needs to sign up. Just go and sign up, even though most of you signing up know you're not going to necessarily go very far. It's not the point. Be a part of the scene. So what that campaign's going to look like, I have no idea, but Bromeo, Pyro, and everybody in chat, I'd love to see you part of that, encouraging people to sign up in droves. More about that in the coming days. Gents, I think we've covered all the important bits, if I am not mistaken.
Yeah, I think I'm all good on that front. I've said enough offensive things for one 90-minute episode.
Oh, and by the way, we didn't wrap this up properly. So Sweaty was voted as the region's best player. Yeah, of course he was.
I one vote.
By one vote.
I mean,
it was close.
again, I'm going to say, I think if To Die For was in that poll, he would have won it. I think that if you gauge the community, they would tell you To Die For it. But you know what? That's what makes it so interesting. It is a very close contest.
And okay, good. Well, do you know what? If this works, I'll be very impressed, because I didn't test it before we went live. So let's see if it works. We're going to try and roll credits. Please work. No, it's not going to. Oh, no, there we go. There we go. The credits are rolling. Fabulous stuff. Okay.
I was pointing the wrong way.
Which one of us does YouTube most often? Pyro giving us his YouTube thumbnail face. All right, guys. Well, thank you to everyone who came to hang. We do have the Boston Major on Thursday night, and you can watch it on ACGL's Twitch or on SuperSport. As soon as we know what channel it's going to be on, we will let everybody know on Twitter and TikTok and all of those good things. And then season split number 2 opens 4, 5, and 6. They happen right after the other. The first qualifier is on the 14th of March. And the last regional ends on the 18th of April. So it's literally every 2 weeks from the 21st of March will be the main RLCS Broadcast Championship weekend. It's bang, bang, bang. Then the season concludes. Paris Major. Then it's Worlds in September. And that leaves a lot of room for a lot of other things like FIFA E and the old Gamers 8, whatever that's called now. And there's also the Nations Cup. There's all sorts of things happening. And I think that wraps it, gents. Is that it?
That's it. Thank you.
That is it. Okay. Well, then from me, Greybeard, the Bromeo, and the Pyro, thanks for coming to hang. We'll see you Thursday night and then again for episode 11 of Just Saying next Monday.